I'm at a seaport somewhere on the coast. And I'm at a cafe drinking iced tea. It's so hot today. I was filming ships all day, sailing ships. And their version of iced tea is 2 tea bags and a glass of cold water, icicles, or ice cubes. But anyway, this is the story of how it all began. I'm at a seaport right now to make this video. It's quite noisy, and the wind's starting to pick up. This is the story of Seto, my first girlfriend. Seto in grade 6. My family had moved around considerably. My father was a training sergeant in the army, and she was 12 years old, I was 12 years old, and I ended up in the same class with her. I met her via a friend that I had made in this grade 6 class, a friend by the name of Jamie. His girlfriend was the only other Chinese girl in the class, Chow, using last names rather than first names to protect the privacy of these girls. Even though I knew who Seto was, we didn't become romantically involved. We were just kids until gym class, because our gym teacher at the time had favored dances, and you know, I'm not a dancer. I don't go to dances. I don't dance, period. So he decided, well, he'd put the boys on one side, the girls on the other side, and he would line us up as partners. So he picked partners. If he knew somebody was a girlfriend, boyfriend, he'd choose them to become partners. But if he didn't know, he'd just randomly pick according to who he thought would be a good matchup. So he had matched up me and Seto to become dance partners. So it was during gym class that we became more and more familiar and became closer and closer due to those dances that we were forced to do that I didn't want to do. So one day during class, we were swinging around doing this square dance, which I don't like at all. And I went to reach over and grab her hand without looking, and accidentally grabbed her boob. It's the first time I grabbed a boob. I was actually quite surprised that it was so soft. But she looked over at me with a completely blank expression in her face, and from that time on she became closer and closer. So I don't know what she thought. I went around thinking I was the biggest pervert on earth, but it didn't seem to bother her too much. Eventually, by walking her home, carrying her books, doing all that childhood thing, I eventually asked her out and asked her to become my steady girlfriend, and she immediately agreed. It wasn't too big of a thing for me, but apparently my family were overjoyed, so much so that they actually had me married to this girl. And I think it was because the fact that she was Chinese became a celebrated event. I guess they figured I'd end up with a girl of European descent. It was my Asian part of me that the family was practicing the most. A word spread around the school so much that it was actually in our union, his boyfriend and girlfriend actually made the school newspaper where they printed an article on it. But the fact was that I was 12 years old and, you know, I didn't know much about boyfriend, girlfriend, and still a kid. I used to walk, whenever we went out together, it was always in a group. So she would be on the other side of the group, I would be on one side of the group, and we'd never walk together, never hold hands. Until one day my friend said, "What the hell's wrong with you? You should be walking with this girl, not away from her. Your boyfriend and girlfriend now." But being unsure, she went and told her whole family and her friends and everything the day that I had asked her to be my girlfriend. And her sister had us married off as well. But when I was walking her home one day, and her sister said, "Look at you two lovebirds, soon you'll be married." And she had said to her sister, "No, it won't be us because I only want a Chinese guy." And right as soon as she said that, that was it for me. I decided, well, you only want to be with a Chinese guy, then maybe you should be. And it began the spiral into a decayed relationship rather than make it go further. And as time passed, we broke up. Quietly broke up. I went out with her less and less, and saw her less and less. When graduation came from junior high school, she had called me up and asked me to take her to the dance. But I absolutely refused because I wasn't into celebrations and I just wasn't a dancer and had no intention of dancing. So anyways, time passed, we eventually drifted apart, went into high school. I never saw her in high school at the beginning. I think it was about near the end of the first year of high school. I saw her one time. She's wearing a white coat. And man, she looked beautiful. Right there, I had wanted to be her boyfriend again. But by then, it was too late. And we only stared at each other. We didn't say hi, didn't say bye. We just watched each other drift. And she eventually drifted out of my mind. One thing about Seto was that she had this really large nose. It's like her nose developed before the rest of her, which I tried to ignore. I mean, she was 12 years old, I was 12 years old, we were still growing. But one day one of the girls who already had a boyfriend in class, she was the only one in class who was having sex at the time. Her name was Kim. She had asked me, "Do you love this girl?" And I said, "Yeah." And she said, "Well, what about it? Why do you love her so much?" And I said it was because of her large nose. And of course, she immediately went and told the rest of the class and told Seto, "Yeah, he likes you because of your large nose," which was the most embarrassing moment of my life at that time. I don't know how Seto felt. She never brought it up. But that nose eventually stopped growing, and as she matured, she was an extremely beautiful girl with long black hair, slender body. I mean, she was like the ultimate of all catches. So when I saw her in high school, and she was a fully developed woman at that time, what a regret I had. I remembered her for, I don't know, every month afterwards. I was always thinking about her, wondering what happened to her. Rumor had it that she had married a Chinese guy and somebody from her university. They got a commerce degree together. And they set up a little cafe restaurant on an island on the east coast of Canada. Where she is today, I don't know. But you hear a lot about boyfriend and girlfriend in high school and how they stayed together and eventually got married. And every time I meet somebody, a friend or an acquaintance, that got married right out of high school, you know, they never dated anybody else. That was the first love of their life. and the one they married, I always ask these people, do you regret not dating or going out with somebody else? And absolutely, without a fault, each and every one has always told me that they wish that they had never stuck with the same person, that they had an opportunity to date other people. So therefore, I'm quite glad that that I had moved on to other girls, that I had dated other girls, had that opportunity, that there were no regrets. I did get to meet other people and find out what type of personality and girl I wanted to be with. Whereas those who did not and married the first girl they met in high school and only dated that girl, to this day, every one of them has a regret that they never dated other women, or the women dated other guys, find maybe somebody more that they liked. But I don't have that regret. Hope she had a couple of children. Can only imagine what she must look like now. I wish Seto all the best. I think of her every month. Sometimes I actually wonder what would happen if we had stuck together. If we had stuck together, I definitely would have married her. I know that's exactly what would have happened. But I'm also glad that I didn't, that I got to enjoy and experience being with other women. For those of you who are with one girlfriend or one boyfriend, I do recommend that you date others, so that you won't live with that regret of wondering why and what would have happened if. Wherever Seto is, whatever type of life she has, I wish her all the best, and I never forgot her. She's forever in my heart and forever in my mind.
GA 平和を求めている。ここ WA 随分悲しい街 BA。人生 WA40 からトゥーブエレスト来た。年を劣るトゥー世の中 GA や NI なる人 GA にる。